Eskom is slamming the City of Tshwane, they say, for not paying the 1.4 billion rand that it owes to them. Says the city has consistently made erratic payments and is adding to the cash flow crisis. Well, let's bring in the City of Tshwane's Finance MMC. It's Mr. Peter Sutton on the go to council this morning. So he's in the car for us being driven around. Peter, morning to you. So are you or are you not paying Eskom?
Good morning, Gareth. No, we can confirm we are behind with Eskom. We do owe them, on Monday, we actually owed them 1.6 billion. Payments has, in the meantime, been made, so it's now 1.4 billion. We have submitted a payment plan to them. We are open and communicating to them about our situation. I must just also add, I find it very interesting, especially with the fact that we are so open about our communication. You know, Umfuleni owes them 4.5 billion. Soweto alone owes them 5 billion, which they're planning to write off now. We owe them 1.4 billion, which we will settle majority of that by the end of this month. And then payment arrangements are in place. We obviously do still have major problems with our liquidity situation in Tshwane. And unfortunately, Eskom's load shedding is also contributing to that. So yes, but we do owe them the money.
And I think many people will credit you for admitting that you do owe the money. And off the back of that, why then, Peter, am I seeing reports that Eskom is now involving COGTA, Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, to try and mediate? If you're communicating, why do we need a mediator?
Well, look, it's very clear that we are communicating with them, but they're clearly not very happy with the situation, which I can understand. We do not make excuses, and we do not simply think it's acceptable that we owe them this money. And to involve COGTA is one of those structures that they're allowed to do. So that's perfectly fine. We welcome that. We will participate. As I say, we're not trying to say we don't owe them the money. We know we owe them the money, but we've also opened our books to Eskom to come and have a look. There's no mismanagement. There's no sinister aspects taking place here. We purely have a cash flow situation, which we have many interventions in place that is not improving. And you know, we're trying to resolve the issue and trying to find a financial solution to this problem as quickly as possible.
I suppose Eskom's main question to you, Mr. Sutton, is going to be how long?
Well, that is the question that I think not only Eskom wants, but our residents as well, because I think, quite frankly, everyone is now a bit tired of hearing about the situation that we can't pay the Eskom bill. And in our projection, it's going to take quite some time to resolve the liquidity situation, but we do have other interventions that will be implemented now. Which have been made possible now with the new budget regulations for 23 and 24, which was issued by National Treasury, where we now can actually ring-fence electricity and water utility payments we receive. And I think that's going to be a very positive aspect to help resolve this going forward. But our liquidity challenge will not be solved within the next 2 months or 3 months. And certainly with load shedding, you know, more and more businesses are closing down, more and more people are defaulting. If the 18% increase come in play on the 1st of April, we will not be able to pass that on to residents because we can only change our tariffs once a year, and that's in July. So that will cost us an additional few billion that we will not be able to pass over to our residents. And even if we could pass that over to our residents on the 1st of July, more residents will default because they simply just can't afford the utility bills anymore that are in many cases more than what their monthly installments are on their bond payments.
I want to circle back around to when you mentioned Umfuleni and also Soweto. We've been hearing that there's a possibility of Soweto, that 5 billion odd rand being written off. What do you make of that? Do you think that's a way to go? And also, why wouldn't the City of Tshwane be offered something like that lifeline? Would you want it?
Well, I must be honest with you, no. I don't. We won't accept it in the City of Tshwane. I don't believe the taxpayers should fit the bill. We must understand, when they say write off, what do they mean? They simply mean the taxpayer needs to pay for that. Gareth, we sit with a culture of non-payment in South Africa, and we need to create a culture of payment. Simply writing off debt is not a solution, and it means nothing. One aspect that can work, which I'm flabbergasted why President Ramaphosa will not propose this, is that you can implement a measure where you can say if people pay their utilities accounts every month on time before the due date for a year, you can write off 10% of their arrear debt. And so you can create a culture of payment. But this has to be instituted individually, and there needs to be very strict rules in place if somebody had to default. But no, I would not even consider or think that Tshwane should be offered this. We're in this position because people are not paying, and we need to fix our house and get our house in order. And if they're going to write off the billions in Soweto, I promise you what's going to happen. The residents in Tshwane is going to start demanding the same. And we can't afford this. Our arrear debtors book is 4.5 billion in electricity usage that we need to recoup. So we've basically financed Eskom to the tune of 4.5 billion that is owed to us in our debtors book. Now, we can't continue like this. South Africa is in the mess we are because government historically simply just wrote off debt. So no, I'm not in favor of that. I would not even want Tshwane to be offered this solution. We need to be mature. We need to focus on creating a culture of payment and not simply writing off debt.
Well, I thank you for your time. City of Tshwane's Finance MMC, Peter Sutton, joining us this morning on the show. So getting thoughts there on the writing off of debts as well, not the way to go. And Mr. Sutton also saying that as a city, they are communicating with Eskom. So there are some conflicting media reports going out. The City of Tshwane is saying they are communicating, open communication, trying to come up with a payment plan. But it seems, and we'll try and get Eskom on this, it seems Eskom is not happy with what they are hearing.